ReZero Season 2 has begun. Yay! Surprise! Best Girl Rem gets put into a coma. Aww. So what's up guys, Foxen here. Kicking off Season 2 with a tragedy. When will Rem wake up? Can't Subaru just give the Sleeping Beauty a smooch? And don't worry, in case you're anime only, this is actually not a spoiler video. You might be able to guess why, and you're gonna find out soon. So if you want Best Girl to wake up soon, smash that like, ring the bell, and let's dive into this. But first, a thank you to Bookwalker for sponsoring. If you love ReZero or Rem, you could go ahead and check out the ReZero light novel or the ReZero manga at the link below. Anyway, getting into Rem. You know Subaru wants a piece of that. But seriously, when does Rem wake up? Getting into the real sad reason why this video is anime only friendly. Rem has unfortunately not woken up yet. Rem is still in her Sleeping Beauty state in the light novel and web novel. The web novel being the first being written, and then the ReZero light novel published into the book format later on. But what the hell does this mean, especially for poor Rem? At least let me give you some hope. Rem may actually wake up soon. I'm gonna explain this in a little bit. First off, the actual removal of Rem from the ReZero story. Unfortunately, she did suffer this writing trope or gimmick to remove her in some way without actually killing her off. Funny, cause very recently you have the Crystallized Annie, Potato Kirito, and now Sleeping Beauty Rem. If you do read a lot of books or more drama-related light novels or manga, this type of gimmick or trope, if you want to call it that, does come up a lot. In fact, really for almost any type of writing. Whether it's literally a coma, if you want to generalize it a little bit more, some type of brain damage, some memory loss, being frozen or sealed up, or even temporarily killed off or heavily injured. A recent series that actually does it quite often is Tower of God. And some of you could help me, didn't Boruto's dad do this too? Who knows, you may be able to add Pokemon to that. You know, if that Ash Coma theory is correct. But anyway, back to the current Potato Rem situation. Let me try to give you an overview of when Rem could come back. Right now the ReZero story is currently on arc number 6. The ReZero Season 1 anime covered arc 1, 2, and 3. ReZero arc 4 is currently the longest arc, which makes me curious to see how the ReZero Season 2 anime handles it. But at the very least, ReZero Season 2 should cover all of arc 4, potentially a tiny portion of arc 5. You might see where I'm going with this. Despite Rem not being awake yet, just based on ongoing events for arc number 6, most likely when some of the issues here get resolved, finally Rem should be wide awake at the end. So yes, the current estimation is at the end of arc 6. At the current pace of the ReZero anime, this will be Season 3 stuff. Let me just emphasize, this is not confirmed, but if ReZero Season 3 does happen, you could expect Season 3 to cover arc 5 and perhaps all or most of arc 6, assuming it's around a similar length. If any of you are a huge Rem fan like I am, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to be waiting quite a good while. This actually leads into the next question. ReZero Season 2 just started, so when could ReZero Season 3 come out? Fortunately, I do have some good news for this one. Quick disclaimer, whether ReZero 3 does come out all depends on how successful and how much money Season 2 brings in. I'm hoping this won't be a problem. Besides the actual funding, of course, the source material is another issue. Thankfully, the ReZero author has been working like a madman, releasing 3 to 4 books a year. By the time ReZero Season 2 ends in 2021, you should be able to breathe easy. There will actually be more than enough source material to work with for a follow-up season. As always, a possible timeline for Season 3 does depend on the production committee. Do they even want to fund a sequel? And don't forget about the anime projects that the White Fox Studio has lined up. So let's hope for a minor miracle here. If the stars do line up perfectly for Rem, ReZero Season 3 could come out as soon as late 2021. But let's actually be more realistic. A much more generous estimation would be 2 to 3 years after Season 2 ends, which means most likely 2022. At least for the current ReZero Season 2, I could at least tell you, you will feel Rem's presence in Season 2 from the other characters, especially Subaru and Rem. You may even see her in a flashback or two. I wouldn't be surprised if the anime added original scenes just for her. Of course, it would have to be flashbacks. Next up, let me actually address the Rem What-if topic. Hopefully you saw my episode 1 review. For a split second, there was some juicy teases. Just seeing this very obvious tease for the Rem route in the Season 2 anime, it doesn't necessarily 100% guarantee anything. But I would be surprised if Rem doesn't get her own special or her own spin-off. I mean, Rem literally prints so much freaking money. I don't know about you, but I definitely contributed my fair share to that, which I don't regret. for what this Rem What-if story is actually about, it is what it sounds like. Recall back to Subaru desperately asking for Rem. He wanted both of them to run away together. This Rem What-if story explores what happened, which of course involves Subaru and Rem hooking up and doing it like freaking bunnies. Oh yes, they got 2 lovely kids. And these are official pictures, by the way. Just look at the tiny Subaru Jr. It looks just like Papa, only blue hair. And no surprise, the daughter has a hint of Rem with her. And yes, the Rem with long hair. I wonder when that's gonna get a figure. And I know, I'm sorry, I'm a massive Rem fan, but I'm totally not digging the longer hair. I'm curious, how do you feel about this? Does anyone like this change with Rem, or do you prefer her normal cut? I think this longer version feels too much like fricking Amelia, and I do say that as someone that likes Amelia. By the way, fun fact, this Rem What-if story is still ongoing last I checked. The ReZero author used to be releasing new chapters for this yearly around Rem's birthday. Anyway, as for how this Rem story could be turned into an anime, they could either squeeze it into a movie OVA special, or perhaps flesh it out more into a short TV anime season. You know, in between season 2 and season 3. Either would be a great option if they love money. So let me know which one of these sounds better, or maybe you got a third idea. If they don't want to do this Subaru and Rem focused story, there are other options. There's also a possibility for some type of prequel for Rem and her sister Rem. I do recall reading a short story about the two, between the time that their village got decimated, up to the point where they began working at the mansion. And yes, I totally admit the details are a little fuzzy, it's been years since I read that. But I do believe the short story even gave the origins for Rem's weapon. You know, the morning star that she loves. And you know, this would give them an excuse to make Kid Rem merch. Anyway, getting into a more heated topic, why did Rem get taken out of the story? I've actually been seeing this question a lot, not only from the release of the first episode, but even before this, especially from new ReZero readers after realizing Rem would be going away for a good while. Definitely voice your own feelings about this whole situation below. I will be reading. First off, to clear some things up, no, the ReZero author Nagatsuki did not put Rem on ice just because he wanted Emilia to become much more popular. ReZero Light Novel number 9 came out in Japan in September 2016, which was when this whole Rem situation played out. Very notably, thankfully, they chose to not end the ReZero anime on this massive cliffhanger. I think that would have massively helped how the global audience felt, just leaving a very sour taste. Honestly, I'm not sure about the whole reception to all ReZero characters in terms of how popular they were, which does include Rem after this event or prior to it in Japan. For the web novel where the similar Rem removal event took place, that should have happened much earlier than 2016. What this comes down to is that I'm not sure whether Rem was really always this massively popular character compared to everyone else. I'm talking about before the anime ever came out. Did Rem get a massive explosion in Rem fans due to the help from the anime, specifically episode 18? If I was a betting guy, I would say the anime surely injected steroids into this Rem love globally. Going forward, I do know that naturally Rem's popularity has dipped for very obvious reasons. Everyone else like Emilia, Rem, Betty, several of the new girls and characters introduced will be able to shine now since they will get a spotlight. At least take it from me, this is a positive. All of this really boils down to no, Rem did not get removed from the story for Emilia's sake. Whether you or I like Rem more, Emilia still is the main protagonist here. If you think about it, Rem probably was not meant to get this beloved in the first place, it just happened. I can't find the quote for this, but I do recall the ReZero author mentioning in a past interview how he was surprised about this colossal Rem popularity. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. If the guy had to redo it, I bet he would change some of the events around, at least for Rem's fate. Either way, I have a feeling that this huge love for her has influenced and will keep on guiding what happens to Rem going forward. Next juicy topic, is Rem Now Gone gonna hurt the season 2 anime or potentially hurt sales? Keep in mind, at least for the Japanese ReZero fans, this Rem going into sleep mode happened years ago. I have a feeling that most fans here in Japan are aware about what was to come, even if they haven't actually read the light novels. Post the season 1 anime airing, even with the knowledge of knowing what's going to happen to Rem, this has not stopped Rem's massively insane popularity. She's already gotten like 3 birthday celebrations too. Naturally, the sister Rem has joined in by default. And for Emilia fans, they have tried to do the same here in Japan too for Emilia. Although let me just tell you, it's never been that big of a hit. On our Discord for this channel, we're always talking about how Rem is getting like a new figure weekly. They might as well just use Rem for currency here in Japan. And trust me, I am curious to see what's going to happen. I am going to be keeping a close eye on this, just to see if there's any vocal dislike or hate from Japanese fans post ReZero Season 2. One of the things I'm really curious about is just seeing how big or small Rem's next birthday celebration will be. I do have a suspicion that Rem's fans may even bring flowers or something like that. You know, almost as if she died, but we'll see. On the flip side, I do think a decent sized chunk of ReZero fans outside of Japan will get totally turned off by this. I mean, post the first episode, I've already seen some vocal people pissed off that Rem got essentially killed off. And trust me, I was pretty disappointed too when I found out. I mean, one of my favorite characters getting removed almost entirely. Yeah, if it wasn't clear, I am a huge Rem fan, but obviously I kept going with the ReZero story. I can tell you that the story is much bigger than simply Rem, much bigger than even Subaru. So hopefully these anime only people keep on watching. Hopefully they're able to see there's more to ReZero besides the adorable blue maid. I mean, you still have Rem, it's like 90% the same. Oh, and there's Emilia too. Trust me, you don't have to like just one. Which reminds me, Rem is still in Isekai Quartet. She has been around for Isekai Quartet both seasons, and she will be making a return in season 3 next year. I'm calling it now, they're definitely gonna make a reference to her being awfully sleepy, maybe in class. There's also the ReZero games. There's actually a ReZero mobile game upcoming later. There's also an upcoming PS4 ReZero title. And trust me, I'm really interested in this, but I haven't even had time to try out the Konosuba game. But anyway, circling back, if you want to take anything away from this video, Rem is not dead. Rem will very likely wake up whenever ReZero Season 3 comes around, which might be around 2022 or 2023. If you're super sad about Potato Rem, don't worry, I was too. But I do highly encourage you to keep on going, at least to the end of ReZero Season 2. I bet you'll find more to the story to love by the end. If not for the story, perhaps for the other characters. You know, Emilia, the twin sister, or you still have that bootleg blonde Rem from the other anime. Really quickly, thank you to Bookwalker for sponsoring this anime video. Go ahead and check them out in the link down below if you love ReZero. Hell, if you like Isekai, just use my code Foxen to get $5 off. They do have the ReZero light novel going past the anime. I do recommend them from the very first one, from Zero, since the anime has cut out so much juicy detail. If you are more into manga, try out the ReZero manga. The manga actually does have some cutout anime scenes. Anyway, hopefully this gave you hope for Best Girl Rem returning. Can you wait until season 3? Does anyone here just want to give up with season 2? Go ahead and watch my review on the first episode. And look forward to SAO coming back this weekend, and I'll see you guys later.